Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you're doing well. So today it's probably gonna be quite a long video. I'll try to go through all the books quickly, but it's essentially 3 wrap-ups all in one. So yeah, I don't know how that's gonna go. But anyway, the reason for doing this huge wrap-up video is that I just didn't have the time to film separate ones for April, May and June. Also, in April, I didn't read that many books, and then in May, I participated in the Asian readathon. I already made a video about that, so you can check it out, you know, wink wink. But anyway, in May, I only read, I think, 2 books outside of the readathon. So again, it didn't feel like it makes sense to make a video just for 2 books. And so essentially I wanted to do a video for like May and April together, because I thought, naively, that I will read a lot in June because my finals ended on the 18th of June. And so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna read a bunch of stuff in June, you know, it's Pride Month, I have so many books I want to read. Yeah, it didn't really happen. I mean, I read like 5 books in June, which is nice, but I wouldn't consider it like a lot. So yeah. So yeah, long story short, I'm just doing it all in this video. Yeah. So the way this is gonna go is that I divided the books that I read in April, May and June into 3 categories. Contemporary / literary fiction, because honestly I didn't really see the difference. But anyway, so contemporary, fantasy and sci-fi, and nonfiction. And I'm gonna start with contemporary. So the first book I want to talk about is Felix Ever After. So I'm sure you've heard a lot about this book already if you follow anyone on Instagram or YouTube who talks about books, because this book has been literally everywhere. And for that reason, I was a bit intimidated by it in terms of like my expectations were high and I just didn't want to be let down. So yeah, I was kind of I was just worried that I'm not gonna like it basically. But I did. Spoiler. So like I said, I liked this book. However, not at all times. I really liked this book at the end, but I have to say there were times when I was just so frustrated and like mad because it actually, I mean, I know it's a YA, so I don't really want to complain about the characters being immature at times, because yeah, they're 16, of course they're gonna act immaturely. Um, but like there were times when I honestly felt like I am not able to read YA anymore because some of the situations, or rather some of the solutions for set situations, were just so frustrating, and I just could not. And I honestly felt so sad because I felt like, oh my god, I'm getting too old to read YA, like this is not good. But then it got better, then it got so much better in the like second half, or well, maybe more the third. It got so much better because the characters actually pleasantly surprised me in some ways. I don't want to give anything away, so I'm not gonna go into detail, but if you read it, you might know what I mean. So yeah, at the end I really liked it, and I would definitely recommend. There are some trigger warnings, I'm gonna put them down here because there definitely are some. But overall, it was a great book. So yeah, overall, I would definitely recommend this for multiple reasons. First of all, it's such a like fast read. It's honestly a page turner. So if you're maybe in, you know, like a reading crisis, read this or listen to it, and I think it will get you out of it because you'll get through it so fast, I promise. So the second reason I would definitely recommend is the representation. I mean, I can't say whether it was like well done or like good or not because I can't really be the judge of that, but it was definitely really interesting. And especially if you haven't read any books with trans characters, especially main trans characters, I would definitely recommend. Also, it has some really interesting discussions about discussion about just, you know, finding your identity. And I don't know, I just really liked that aspect of the book. So yeah, overall I would just recommend this book if you like YA and if you don't mind two tropes, and this is like, these are minor spoilers. The first trope that is in this book that some people might not enjoy is a love triangle. I did not know that it's gonna be there, and I did not love it. So a love triangle, and also the somebody outed someone trope, sort of, like not entirely but sort of, it is kind of there. So if that maybe triggers you, or if you just really don't like it, don't read this book. So the next book I want to talk about is Red at the Bone. So I want to talk about this book pretty quickly because honestly I don't really know what to say about it. Like, I think objectively it is a good book. Like, the language is pretty cool and interesting, and it changes points of view and also goes like, it jumps through time. So like, one chapter might be a POV of a girl who was like 16 in 2000 something, and then the next chapter might be a POV of her grandmother when she was young. You know, it just jumps in time. So that's really interesting, and I like how it sort of painted a picture of this family in a really interesting way. So objectively, I think, yeah, I think it's a good book, even though I know that you can't really be objective with books, but if I try to be objective, I would say it is a good book. However, for some reason, I just didn't like click with it as much as I thought I would, because, like, I don't know, it took me a while to read it, so maybe that's why. Maybe if I've read it like in one sitting, it would affect me more. But I don't know, some chapters were super interesting and I was like glued to the page. I also cried in some chapters, and like some chapters were just really hitting me. But some were just like, I don't know, like I wouldn't say they were filler chapters because, like I said before, it all painted this like bigger picture. But I don't know. I just, for some reason, I had pretty high expectations of this book, which I don't even know why, because I just picked it up pretty randomly at a library. I didn't even read the reviews or anything, so I don't know why I had high expectations, but I did. And again, it was a mistake. This happened with a lot of books in this video, so I'm sorry if high expectations is like an occurring theme, but yeah. So overall, I think it is quite an interesting book, and I would recommend it if you like contemporary slash historical fiction, because it does go a little bit into history. So in general, if you like literary fiction, I can't like not recommend it because there's nothing wrong with the book. I don't know, we just didn't vibe as much as I thought we would. So yeah. Okay, the last book in the contemporary section of this video is Land of Big Numbers. So this is a short story collection, and I don't read that many short story collections. I read two by Haruki Murakami, and I really like those. And I want to say I liked this one as well, but it's complicated because I read it on my phone as an ebook, and so I didn't really reach for it often because I just kind of forgot about it, because I have a stack of books like on my bedside table. So when I'm reading in the evening, I look at the bedside table and I like pick one or two or more and read. But since this was in my phone, I didn't really think about it. So I had been reading it for over a month, maybe even 2 months, which really killed my reading experience, I guess. Like, I feel kind of, I don't know, like in my head it's not a short story collection, it's just short stories, like individual short stories. So it feels weird rating it as a whole, but I don't know, I still liked it though. Like, I liked all of the stories, some of them more, some of them less, of course, but I don't think there was any that I didn't like. I don't think so, yeah. So if you like short stories, I would definitely recommend this. Also, if you're interested in Chinese culture, I would definitely recommend this. So the next section is fantasy slash sci-fi. Actually, I'm gonna start with the one sci-fi book that I want to talk about, and that is This Is How You Lose the Time War. Oh my god. So just like with Felix Ever After, this book I was so scared to read it because of my crazy high expectations. I mean, everybody I know that read it loved it. Like everybody, honestly. And I was so excited to read it, but also just really intimidated by it, and I just wanted to enjoy it so badly that in the first maybe in the first hour or so, because I listened to it. So in the first hour or so I didn't even enjoy it that much because I was constantly thinking like, am I enjoying it? Am I enjoying it? Which is so stupid, and I know I shouldn't do this because it literally doesn't matter if I enjoy the same books as other people. I know it doesn't matter, but still, I don't know. I really wanted to enjoy that book. But then I took a break from it for a couple of days, and I thought, you know what, fuck it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. And then I just started listening to it again, this time, calmly, with no expectations. And it was great. It was such a good book. Like, wow. I was blown away. Okay, so first of all, the writing, like the prose, wow, just wow. I loved it. I really did. Especially Blue's letters were just so good. Like both of them were so good, but Blue especially just wow, honestly. Yeah, wish I could like I wish I could express myself that way. I really wish, because oh my gosh. Anyway, I also just gaped at the end. I sat with my jaw hanging. I was like, what? Because it was so smart. And maybe I'm just like, okay, I need to say that I don't read much sci-fi because I'm just it's like just not my thing. So I don't read much sci-fi. And that might be the reason why the ending felt so brilliant to me, because maybe I just haven't read that much sci-fi, so it's new for me. Like that's definitely a possibility. But wow, it was so smart. Like the ending was so smart, and yeah, just well, not just the ending, just like the whole book, because the ending ties to the whole book. Anyway, I don't want to give you any spoilers, but please read it. I'm like, from now on I'm gonna be recommending this book to everyone because it's so good. Also the romance, I was skeptical. I was like, I can't see how someone can fall in love just like through letters, that's not like, that's gonna be weird. It wasn't weird. It wasn't weird. It was so naturally done. It was like, wow, yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. This is the book, this is like the book I finished most recently, so I still have a lot of emotions. So yeah, I don't think I have to say anything else. Just, it's a great book. Read it, or read some reviews and then read it. Whatever you want. Now onto the fantasy books. I have two. One is an adult fantasy and one is YA, and I'm gonna start with the YA just because I kind of want to get it over with, and that is The Cruel Prince. So I read this book in April, which means it's been a while, which means that my memory isn't like that sharp, so I don't really remember like everything that I thought about it. But overall, I mean, I am gonna continue reading the series because it feels like a really nice, like chill out book, when you don't want to think, when you just want to read something that's not really intellectually challenging. You just like pick it up, read it, done. So for that, I think it's a great series. Well, I haven't read the other books in the series, but yeah, I am planning to. Also because I'm just kind of interested to see where's it gonna go. But I have to say it was so different than I imagined it would be. I don't know why. I don't. I don't even know what I imagined, but not this. It was just so different than I expected that I'm still not really sure what to think about it. But I don't know. I feel like, first of all, I don't think I have to recommend it to you because there are so many people already like recommending it that you probably have heard about it. And if you haven't, I would probably recommend other YA series. I mean, I don't know, but like the thing is, you might like it. I don't think it's an objectively bad book or a bad world building or a bad idea. No, actually, I think the world building is pretty good in terms of like, I like how the fairies are different from, for example, Sarah J. Maas's fairies. But I don't know, it just didn't click with me, and I still don't know why. It kind of felt stupid at times. I don't like saying that about a book, but yeah, it did. I don't know. I'm probably gonna give you more coherent review after I finish the whole series. Okay, the last fantasy book that I'm gonna talk about, well, the second fantasy book that I'm gonna talk about, the last book in this like category, is Lies of Locke Lamora. Okay, I feel like this video is full of me just not being sure what to think about books, which is kind of a vibe. But anyway, this was an interesting reading experience because the first half of the book I was struggling. I was struggling so much to get into it. I just didn't enjoy it because I don't know, like I like slow books and I like descriptions. And yet, the problem for me was the slow pace and the description. So I don't know what went wrong. But yeah, I was struggling. However, when it picked up speed, it was so good. Like the second half and especially the end was just so cool. And I mean, I think the main problem with me and this book lies in the fact that I don't love heists. I don't love, this trope. I don't know why though. Like, it sounds like a thing I would love. I don't know. I want to read The Six of Crows, which I also know is a heist book, and also Mistborn, which again is a heist book. And if I don't like those as well, then yeah, it's official. I don't like heists. But until then, I'm gonna keep hoping that I do, because in theory it sounds like a really good trope. But anyway, sorry, I'm rambling again. Anyway, about this book, I would recommend it to you if you don't mind a lot of descriptions, because there's a lot of them. They are beautiful and they give you like a really good idea of the world, but there's a lot of them, and I'm pretty sure some people would be put off by that. I would also recommend it if you don't mind violence. There's not like too much violence, but at the end there's this like pretty brutal scene that I just didn't enjoy that. So if you don't mind violence, if you don't mind long descriptions, and if you like heists, I think you would love this book. Honestly, I mean, the main characters are so amazing. Also, that book is gonna hurt you. You're gonna cry, I think. I mean, I did cry. Anyway, the main characters are amazing, especially Jan and Locke are just, yeah, my heart. I feel like my review of this book doesn't make any sense, so I'll try to sum it up. So, didn't enjoy the first half. Absolutely loved the first half, especially the end. Loved the main characters. Cried a lot. Didn't enjoy this one disgusting scene. That's basically it. So the last category, nonfiction, has 2 books. The first one I'm gonna go through really quickly because it hasn't been translated into English. The reason I'm even talking about this is that it was originally written in German, and I believe there are a lot of people who speak German. So I thought it would still be worth it to mention it here. And the name is, I'm sorry, I have to read it because I just don't remember. I can't speak German, so it's called Der Kleine Prinz in uns. Yeah, that was a bad accent, but Anyway, so this book is basically an interpretation of The Little Prince, like a psychological slash philosophical interpretation. And I have to say that I expected a bit more from it. I mean, I enjoyed it because I love The Little Prince, and so you know, it was nice to like read about it and think about it and stuff. But I expected more from it because some of the chapters, because it had really short chapters about like different themes, and some of the chapters were just about things that were so obvious to me when I was reading The Little Prince. Then then when I was reading about it in this book, and when I was reading the interpretation, I was like, well, duh, like, you know, it wasn't anything revolutionary. However, there were some things that made me think, so that's good. That's why I read it. And yeah, so I don't think it's a bad book. So if you love The Little Prince, if you're like a hardcore fan, this might not be for you because it might be kind of too obvious. Like, yeah. However, it is about a little prince, so if you love The Little Prince, you will probably enjoy it, but there might not be anything new for you. However, if you've read The Little Prince and you liked it, and you want to like learn more and you don't know that much about it, this might be good for you. So, the last book I want to talk about is Fashionopolis. Okay, so it was a turbulent ride with this one because at the beginning, I wasn't too impressed. Because the first two chapters are mostly about like the conditions that workers have in like garment factories. And I mean, I knew almost everything that was in those chapters. I mean, I didn't know like the numbers and percentages, but like I knew how shitty the situation is. So it wasn't new to me. And I felt like if the whole book is just gonna be about that, like if the whole book is gonna have this like you should feel guilty for buying fast fashion tone, I wasn't into that because first of all, yes, we as consumers can and should change our behaviors if it's possible for us to like contribute to the change, but it still has to be the big corporations who actually make the change. And second, not everyone can afford to not buy fast fashion, which wasn't addressed in the book, which I didn't really like. So yeah, the first two chapters were kind of a nah for me. However, the rest was so good. It literally went from this like like such a good book. A big portion of the book focuses on innovations and how people who decided to do things differently in the fashion industry, like how they did it. And it's really interesting. It's really, really interesting, and it was so inspiring to see how people are making even just a small change, but still a change. And I don't know, like some of the projects were just mind-blowing, to be honest. And I think that the book went into quite a detail. Like it was maybe a bit too technical for me at times, but that might be just because I really don't understand chemistry or physics or biology or biochemistry or anything. So sometimes it was really hurting my brain. But it was so cool and so inspiring. I know I've already said that. I know I'm repeating myself, but it needs to be said. It was so inspiring. And just, yeah, like, wow, I just admire the people that do these things and that can think of these things. And I mean, I don't mean just the people who did the like coolest innovations or the most crazy innovations. I also mean the designers who were sort of like bold enough to get out of the mainstream and say, no, I'm not gonna work with this material, or no, I'm not gonna work with that material, like Stella McCartney, for example. I mean, I didn't know anything about her before reading this book, and now I have to say I'm a fan. But anyway, if you are interested in the fashion industry, or not necessarily even in the fashion industry, maybe just in like the impact of fashion industry on our planet, read the book. It's really, really good. Oh, okay, wow, I can't believe we made it to the end. I was struggling with this video, I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know why, I just kept choking and like rambling, and then yeah, it was painful. It was painful. I hope it wasn't painful to watch though. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what you're currently reading, or you know, just if you want to chat about books, feel free to do that in the comments. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!